Thank you very much. I'm not used to microphones. Is that audible? Can anyone tell? Yep. Yeah, okay. I've done a dangerous thing. I've got about 20 words written in front of me. I'm improvising. I've got to talk about SATs, not swear, and manage it in front of parents and teachers and children who are actually part of the school community where I work. So that's a tall order. I wish I'd written a prepared script a little bit more finely. With the 2016 SATs, the first indicator that I got personally that things would be very much more difficult came just before Christmas. Comparatively late, I was aware of sample materials where 6-year-olds were being asked to spot the verb in things like the following sentence. And the sentence was, yesterday was sports day and Jo wore her new running shoes. And 6-year-olds were given the opportunity to show where the verb was. The verb, I don't need to say to you, it's irregular. It's not a doing word, it's was. There's war is irregular. The word, of course, that most children underlined was running. And when I was speaking to the person that was delivering this training, I said, how ridiculous. You know, of course children are going to underline the word running. Everyone can see that it's and as I said, adjective, she said noun. And we looked at each other, and I thought, yes, okay, hyphenate running shoe and it becomes a noun. Use it as an adjective, use it to describe the kind of shoe that you're wearing, and it becomes an adjective. And those are the kinds of mind-bending, mind-reading kinds of activity we're expecting children to do. In the room of Year 6 teachers where I was finding out about this stuff before Christmas, we were introduced to the past progressive, present progressive tenses, which many Year 6 children will be able to tell you all about now. I've got an English degree, and I used to be an English teacher before going into primary teaching. I know my stuff. I teach, or have taught, A-level and GCSE. These were terms that I could work out, actually. I was the only adult in the room who could, but I would say that was because of my kind of specialist background. The thing that's difficult about those terms is that as soon as you start to explain what they are, the definition of one tense blurs into the definition of other things you are trying to teach. It is remarkably difficult to keep the ideas separate. And again, that kind of thing under pressure is characteristic of these SATs. What I was unprepared for was the deliberate way in which the writers of the question were trying to trip up the children, mislead the children, and prevent them from showing what they did know. That surprised me. In previous years, by the time children have done some revision, shall we say, over the spring term, by the time they are facing the SAT, then generally at the school where I work, they felt, on the whole, actually, yes, we're ready for this and we can do it. That was not the case this year. This year was notably different. There was genuine anxiety in the classroom. During the SATs week itself, on Monday with the reading paper, I found myself prepared. I didn't read the paper, actually. I wasn't prepared to do that. I read the text and thought, oh, they're reasonable. And it was only later, looking at an article on the Times Ed on the website, that I realised the questions had been insanely difficult, incredibly difficult, even though the texts had been comparatively straightforward. And children had burst into tears, not in Westway, not where I work, as far as I know, not where I was, but children had wept. Now, this was Monday morning, and they knew they had to get through to Thursday lunchtime. There was a week's worth of testing still to go. This was unkind. This is trying to trick children up. Examples of that. There was a maths question that I got particularly angry about, where the caveat in the instruction was that should a question be phrased to use vulgar fractions, ordinary fractions, numerator being smaller than the denominator, the answer had to be in vulgar fractions. If the question was in decimals, the answer had to be in decimals. The children this week were asked, what is 5/7 and 4/7? Two vulgar fractions, the answer is 9/7, but that is not a vulgar fraction. You can turn it into 1 and 2/7, but that doesn't look like a vulgar fraction. It looks like something we've been calling mixed numbers all year. The children did not know what to do. It was a deliberate intention, as far as I can see, to stop the children putting the right answer. The right answer could well be 9/7, but you were not allowed to put that because of this caveat that was in the instructions. I find that morally reprehensible. What I think is that, and what I'm concerned by, is this. Eventually these children are going to realise that adults wrote these questions deliberately, and they're going to believe that this is an acceptable way to test children. This is going to be an acceptable way to treat children. It is not. It is unusually amoral, twisted. Keep shouting. I've not looked at my script once, so I am rambling. It is unusual, but children will learn that it is okay to try and make things difficult. The other thing that they're going to learn is that education is these tests. It's not. These tests are not about education. These tests are about politics, and they're about propaganda, and they're about failing state-funded schools, and about creating academies. They are not to do with education. Education is something that's intrinsically motivating. Education is about developing new skills. It's actually about finding out what you can do in a given situation. Those are exciting and motivating things, and that's the sort of reason why I went into education and became a teacher. It's not to know what the past progressive tense is. It's not to be fooled, to be tripped up by an adult into saying that 9/7 is the wrong answer when it's the right answer, but I didn't allow you to put it in that way because of all that. So I am profoundly unhappy with what the children are learning from this experience. In my class, the children surprised me. They are pro-SATs. The reason they are pro-SATs is that they believe that this is education. They believe that they are trying to do the right thing by jumping through these hoops. They don't believe me when I tell them that it's possibly less important than they imagine. I feel that that pressure that the institutions of schools put children under needs emphasising, needs talking about, needs bringing into the open. I am concerned that children who value education consider this to be important. To counterbalance it, on Friday at the end of the SATs week, we took our homework books, we took our published CGP books actually, there you go, that's the publisher. And we came up with 15 creative things that we could do with them. I don't know if my colleague did the same thing in the other classroom, but among other things, we turned them into snowflakes. We tore out the pages, sellotaped them together and made towers that reached the ceiling. We turned them into confetti. I refused to allow the children to burn them, but I knew why they wanted to. I didn't want the children to use chainsaws, but we did use scissors a lot. One of the things that we did was play hunt the flag with them. We sledged on them. We played football with screwed up papers. We threw water over them. There were still 2 children who thought this was disrespectful after everything that they'd been through and thought that you shouldn't treat books like that. And I had a moment of thinking, oh, burning the books is probably not what I want to be seen doing. And the reason I am happy to stand here and say that that's what I did is that one child finished destroying her homework book, turned to me, exhaled, and said, oh, that's that off my chest. And that's why I'm happy that we destroyed those books. Then we played the Molehills all day. Thank you.